Hello guys. So hopefully you guys are having a great day with your family members and the loved ones. I generally try to do videos to inspire anybody who watches them. Today I thought I would do something slightly different. Some of you may know this, some of you may not know this if you're watching my videos for the first time. In 2015, I was diagnosed with a medical condition called an acoustic neuroma, which is also a type of a brain tumor. So I thought I will talk about this experience in the event if you are watching this and if you are diagnosed with the same condition. Not necessarily to share videos or thoughts with regards to what it was all about. That is something I will certainly do. But the success of the video for me in the event, if you go through this entire video and figure out it's not as bad as it may sound, because as soon as somebody says you have a brain tumor, that's one of the most scariest things that you hear in your life, and you don't know what to do. And at least that was certainly my experience when I was diagnosed with the condition. So if you watch my video and if you feel that if you have the condition, especially if you're searching on the net for some information, and if you watch this video and if you feel that it's not as bad as what it may sound like, then I hope the objective is achieved. So it's not only about the acoustic neuroma, but trying to give it a bit of a motivational touch. But I sincerely hope that you would never be diagnosed with any serious medical condition, including an acoustic neuroma, as well as any one of your loved ones will never be diagnosed with a condition like this. So memory jumps back to year 2015. I still remember it was August 15th, if I'm not mistaken. It's a Friday, and we had this great internship program at a hotel called Cinnamon Grand in Sri Lanka. I was taking part in that, and it was an absolutely lovely event. We had a great time. So, sort of going back in time a little bit, there were a few things. Number one was that, I'm also a lecturer. So when I was conducting lectures, so I write from my left hand, right? So I write, and then when I'm trying to hear, I'm more biased towards my left hand side in terms of hearing. So I ask a question from the class, and when the class answers, I feel that it's coming in bits and pieces, in the sense that noise tend to break. And also there was a feeling for some time that there was something stuck over here, right? And many times I kind of shook my head to take it out if it was earwax or something like that, assuming that it was earwax. So those were some of the symptoms, but there was absolutely no serious symptom at all except for this hearing loss. So after this internship program, what happened was there were two options. Either I go to a kid's birthday party or to go out with my friends. Honestly, if you ask me what was my preference, to go out with my friends, but this was from my wife's side, and then I promised my wife that I will make it for this kid's birthday party. So we went there, and it so happened that this kid's mother happened to be a doctor, right? And then I very casually told this doctor, friend of mine, I said, I guess we are growing old. And the doctor asked me, why do you say that? I said, no, I have a kind of hearing loss in my left-hand side ear. So that's the reason for me to say that. And she immediately replied, no, you're not losing or you're growing. No, this is not a sign of you growing old. You better go and check this out. I didn't take it too seriously, but I made a mental note of it. I still remember it was a Saturday, next day, 16th of August, 2015. I had full days of lectures. And then in between I just called this channeling place and I asked for a ENT doctor's contact details, got an appointment on Sunday. I went to meet the doctor, and when I met the doctor, I was quite confident that I have a very small condition, like probably earwax or something like that. I just said, doctor, because absolutely no sign, right? So who's going to assume that when you have hearing loss you have a brain tumor inside? So I went and told the doctor that I have this, and then she checked for earwax and said something like, no, you don't have earwax. And that was slightly alarming, and told me to go and get a hearing test done, and I did it. And then the results were quite clear that there is a bigger hearing loss than what I thought it was. See, the funny thing is, when you have 2 ears, you don't know which side you're getting the noise from, as long as you understand what the other person is saying. So you really don't care. So then hearing loss was quite imminent. So doctor said, right, go and take MRI done. Did it. So thereafter the story was very clear. that I have an acoustic neuroma or a brain tumor. If my memory serves me right, the brain tumor size was little over 2 centimeters, 2.3 centimeters, if I remember exactly, but I'm not very sure, but it was over 2 centimeters from what I remember. When we went to the doctors, this time around, we went to probably the best a neurosurgeon in Southeast Asia. His name, the doctor's name is Dr. Perera. Amazing human being. Forget about his amazing skills of saving many lives, including mine. He's an amazing human being. So he took time to explain the whole story to me. As I remember it, it's a brain tumor that comes on top of your hearing nerve, balance nerve, as well as your facial nerve. There were a few options that were there. Because of my age, I think doctors were of the view that I should take the more difficult option to go for the surgery and completely remove the tumor, and so that was the option that I took. The risks were that this was the hardest part, hearing that I might lose my complete left side hearing. Good news is that it never happened, thank God. And then there would be facial paralysis. So those were the two main things that were told to me. I must say that the hardest part of this entire scenario was the stage where you find out that you have a brain tumor, right? Because I want to divide it into 3 areas. One was pre, then during the surgery, the hospitalization time, and the recovery stage. So this was the hardest, mentally it was the hardest thing to sort of go through here, and so on and so forth. And I kind of didn't know what to do, quite frankly, because at that time I have a daughter, and she was at that time was under 1 year. I believe she must have been about 8 months or so, over 6 months, under 1 year. So kind of felt that, you get all sorts of feelings, you kind of have let them down, and you don't know what future looks like, right? So you always have your little aspirations, especially when you have a daughter, about her future, to see her grow up, and so on and so forth. So I had the similar kind of dreams. I still have the dreams, but all these emotions tend to hit you hard, so it's quite emotional. I can tell you this much also. My personality is such, at least, that I was able to get used to the idea that every doctor literally whom I spoke to told me that you're not going to die out of this. Very unlikely that would happen. So maximum would be facial paralysis with hearing lost on your left hand side. So I kind of got used to the idea. Then I was quite fine. Then what happened was, I still remember on the 1st of September I got admitted. I thought it was going to be a walk in the park. I'm going to have a great time at the hospital till the operation happens very next day, 2nd of September. But I was wrong. As soon as I was admitted, what I had to do was, by the way, I was admitted to a hospital called the Central Hospital in Sri Lanka. Staff were very nice. Hospital is very nice. It's quite new. So when I went, my expectation was that I can relax. Absolutely not. There were many tests that had to be done, and one thing that they did was they came and sort of cut all these areas in terms of the hair. They took it off and kind of marked the areas where they are going to get entrance to my brain. Didn't expect that. I had to have a bath with betadine, or betadine as they call it. So yeah, it wasn't fun at all. And very next day, no food, no drinks, nothing at all in terms of water, even nothing at all. You have to stay and stay without any food or drinks or water, and prepare yourself for the operation. So interestingly enough, operation was on the 2nd of September. By the time they took me inside the operation theatre, I remember time was 7:30. And doctor was nice to me. The entire team was absolutely nice to me. So from that point onwards, I can't remember what happened, but my family tells me the operation went on for about 6 hours. So I suppose my memory thereafter was them taking me to a CT scan. I vaguely remember that, because I can tell you one thing, guys. After the operation, at least for me, and that was my experience, you hardly have any energy left in your body after a brain surgery. That's something that I've learned. I'm not a person who sleeps a lot, but you literally fall asleep. You're on a lot of what can I say? You're on a lot of after care per se. I was at a place called the NICU, or the Neuro Intensive Care Unit. They were observing me. Good news though is that at least for me, every day it was progress. Every day I started noticing that my energy was improving, right? There was a moment where even if you stay on the same spot, you feel tired. Even if you take 10 steps, you feel tired. But next day you can take few more steps more than that, right? Now we all want to grow and progress. So I suppose in that sense it was quite motivating to see that your life is progressing each and every day. So at least in my case, I didn't have a problem in terms of going deaf on my left hand side. That didn't happen, but I certainly didn't have facial paralysis, and I'm not a person who is too worried about the appearance. So because of that, it didn't worry me, but at least when I looked at myself in a mirror for the first time, it was a little scary, to be very honest, as well as funny, because this side wasn't working at all. That is something that subsequently improves. Okay, after about 1.5 years or so, I can confidently tell you it has substantially improved. NICU days were quite lonely, and I don't want to use the term depressing, but it was lonely. You had to wear an adult diaper and stay in the bed for a very long time because they are observing you. Subsequently, I was transferred to a normal ward, and then I was discharged, I suppose, from the hospital on the 10th of September, if I'm not mistaken. So was in the hospital for about 10 days or so. And then post checkups were that I suppose after some time, I believe, is it after 1 year or so, or maybe after 6 months later, or after a considerable period of time, you had to do an MRI. I did that MRI and found no trace of brain tumor left inside. Face improves little by little. I had to go for a treatment called ES. That stands, I suppose, not very sure, but I think it stands for electronic stimulation, and electronic stimulation went on for some time, and there were certain facial exercises that were given. There was absolutely no power to this side at all for some time, right? And even if you try to drink from a straw, it hardly, if you take the straw towards this side, nothing comes out at all, so there's hardly any power. However, subsequently, little by little, you gain power, and facial condition tend to improve quite a bit. Also, on top of that, when I came home, I still remember I had to literally fall asleep, or I fell asleep. I believe that's the right way of putting it. Every 3 hours or so, because your body still feels tired. In my case, I believe just under 1 month, I was able to return back to work and start work very, very, very slowly, because you're still feeling very tired. Something that I didn't want to do was to sort of, what can I say, to see, when you have an experience like this, your whole life pattern changes, right? Including your rituals. So when your rituals changes, all of a sudden you get into a state, right? You get into a certain state where you start feeling all the negative thoughts, and the feeling of you being to a certain extent useless was a feeling that I certainly didn't want to live with, because after some time, what can you do at home, right? You watch Star World for a long period of time, but after sometimes the same program repeat every day. I believe I would have watched a program like probably Castle or one of those programs at least thrice a day on Star World, and watching the same series or same program 3 times over, it can be very unproductive. So what I told was, at least what I thought to myself, was to sort of return back to work as fast as I can. That is something that I enjoy doing, especially I'm involved in learning and development of people, so that is something I enjoy doing. I wanted to go back. I still remember I went back to work, if I'm not mistaken, on the 1st of October. That was quite early. I never thought I was able to return to work like that, but worked for only a few hours. Came back little by little, increased the workload. So I sincerely hope that you or your loved ones will never be sort of diagnosed with a situation like this. So if I were to summarize this, first and foremost. The hardest part for me is to get used to the idea of having this condition, of having a brain tumor, because nobody anticipates that. Just imagine, 1 week you're fine, next week you go and do an MRI and figure out there's a tumor in your brain, and doctor said that it was there for as much as 5 years or even more. That I believe is quite true, because something that happened was, I believe, now I'm not a doctor, but this is what I believe, because the balance nerve is also involved. I also bowled from cricket is a famous game in Sri Lanka, for starters, if you're watching from a different country. So, I tend to bowl. In cricket, there's something called bowling, and I used to bowl from my left arm. And long time ago, I lost the bowling skill, in the sense that, I run in and then I, try to bowl the ball the same way that I used to from my childhood. And then I couldn't bowl it, in the sense that, ball literally drops, on the same spot. Even my office friends used to make fun out of it. I used to make fun out of myself. I didn't know that was a result of the brain tumor. I assumed that was the case. Those were the first signs. I mean, who knows? Soon as you lose the skill of bowling, you don't think you have a brain tumor either. So then what happened was, anyway, right? So the hardest part was learning the fact that you have a brain tumor and getting used to the idea. Okay. Then I believe whatever your faith that you have helps you a lot at that given point in time. I had the most amazing support from my parents, from my family members, including my wife, their side, my office colleagues. I work for a private bank. I mean, they were absolutely amazing. There were a lot of prayers, there were a lot of well-wishers. Frankly, I sometimes didn't even have the sort of time to take the phone calls and so on and so forth. Those prayers certainly helped. Even to date, I am ever so grateful for the kind of support that I got from my office. Office colleagues were absolutely wonderful. So that kind of help, that kind of support, that kind of love, that kind of care is very, very, very important to a patient. In case if you're diagnosed with the condition, I hope that you get that kind of encouragement, support, love and care. And if you're watching this on behalf of somebody else, that kind of love, caring and understanding can be very helpful. Because there were times, I'm not shy to say this, when I was initially diagnosed, I remember I even felt at times in the night that I couldn't even breathe. So those emotional conditions can be there with people. Subsequently, you recover after a few days but when the uncertainty hits you, those are some of the thoughts, feelings and behaviors that I tend to have, right? Doesn't mean that everybody should have it, but I certainly had. And then operation is the easiest, because you have no idea as to what's going on till such time you get up. I was lucky. I had the most amazing neurosurgeon and the team. Dr. Perera was absolutely great. To this date, I'm very grateful for the kind of support, advice that he gave me, and most importantly, I mean, he's a very skilled doctor, but even more importantly, he's a wonderful human being. He genuinely took time to explain my condition, what are some of the risks, and he was very, 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 very understanding. I will, till the day I die, I believe I will be forever grateful to him. So in that sense, love, affection and care is important from the family. I suppose the doctor that you find is also somebody who is very, 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 very important, because you're touching the brain territory, so you probably want to find out the best possible doctor. And I was very lucky to have that. I was very lucky to have the hospital staff who was absolutely nice to me. Gave me a message that strangers, I mean, I didn't mean anything to them, but they were truly there for me. That's something that I would never forget. So pre-part would be the most difficult part, at least in my case. Post, if you get the right support, or not during the treatment stage, I suppose you need to get the right people supporting you. And then the post stage is all about being patient. It's about progressing every day, taking a day at a time. All right, and if you can do that, I believe this kind of a brain tumor is something that you can overcome quite fast, okay, without too much problems. At least that was my experience. When you listen to different experiences, different people would say different things. So there's a learning point there for me. Your situation is unique. Don't listen to anybody too much or too little, unless and otherwise probably that's your doctor or some medical expert, because I mean, even in my case, I'm just an amateur doing this video with an intention to help you out. So that's my intention. On the positive side, I can now understand the importance of health. I believe at a certain point in time, all of us tend to take our health for granted. And when you lose it, you realize how important it is. So in that sense, that's one of the most important things somebody could ever have in their lives. So that's my case. Is there something else in my head that is there that I want to share? Is what I'm thinking right now. Staying positive is an advice somebody can easily give you. However, staying positive is quite difficult during these times. So if you are feeling negative, it's quite normal, is something that I want to share. But subsequently, I'm confident that you will get used to the idea. You will get settled with the idea, and you will get the best possible support. And then it's about recovering little by little by little. There are a few post checkups that you got to do. As a matter of fact, I've got to do another MRI just to ensure that it's not coming back. Hopefully it's not coming back. I mean, quite sincerely, it's not that kind of a big a deal once you get used to the idea and get the treatments. Doctors tell me that you do not get headaches for these kind of tumors. That's what I was being told. But I need to tell you something. I had few headaches back in the days after the brain tumor. I don't see similar kind of headaches. Once in a way I get one, but not with the same intensity that I had earlier. So I don't know whether it is related or unrelated, but that's something that I can speak for because I'm not a doctor. And good news is that I can bowl again, from my left hand side. That's why I assume that losing of bowling skill was a result of the brain tumor. So other than that, guys, there is nothing left for me to say. I never say to subscribe to my channel or to subscribe or like my videos. None of that is required. However, I went through a condition. Because I went through that experience, there is somebody out there who can benefit from my experience. That's the purpose of this video. If you want my help, leave a comment with your email address. Anywhere in the world, no problem at all. I shall write to you with my phone number and we can have a chat, and hopefully I can help. So all the very best to you. Take care. This is something that I wanted to do for a long time, and I'm glad that I was able to finally do it. It's about 23 odd minutes. So anyway, hopefully this will never hit you, or any other serious medical condition will not hit you. Take care, guys. Bye.